on the three. Welcome to the Garden, everybody. 15:50 to go in the first half of play, and it's UMass and Stanford in the opening semifinal of the NIT. Glad to have you with us from New York. We're down to 4 teams. Let's take a look at that bracket. UMass and Stanford in game 1. Then about 9:30 tonight, we'll see Minnesota and Washington, with the winners going into the game championship. 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. Good evening, everybody. It's great to have you with us. Fran, let me ask you first, when you take a look at all 4 of the teams left in this Final Four, what kind of basketball do we expect to see?
Well, I think it's been fun. You got 3 teams from power conferences, and certainly the Atlantic 10. UMass had a great season, but the key is, Mike, that you don't get into the NCAA, your players are a little disheartened. You win the first one, you win the second, and all of a sudden you've got a trip built to New York and play in this fabulous arena, taking the sights. And so these teams are excited about playing.
Bill Raftery, points aren't going to be a problem in the first.
They'll get up, and that's interesting to listen to Fran, too, because you did get in the NCAA, and then you did settle on occasion for NIT. But you get that run. But these 2 teams are playing high-powered basketball. Fun, enjoyable. Woo-woo was a term that Tommy Brenda used to use years ago. They like threes, they like penetration, and they are unselfish, and they're playing at a high level right now.
Well, the one-on-one, of course, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and that's what these kids are trying to do.
Well, and Chaz Williams has finished in the year for UMass on fire. This little mighty Mike from Brooklyn, New York, he's back home. He's played some at Madison Square Garden before. He will become a household name his junior and senior years. You will love watching Chaz Williams play tonight if you haven't already this season.
Sounds like he's still recruiting, and of course Stanford that ability to get up and down and score points, a high level, 84 points on the NIT, 86 the last 7 games, folks. Johnny D's letting them roll.
And there's a lot of young kids on this team, and Johnny Dawkins has put up his second 20-win season in 4 years, so he's got the program headed in the right direction. Take a look at the starting lineup for you as we're 4 minutes and 10 seconds into this game. As Fran said, keep an eye on Williams. He and Morgan in the backcourt, along with Vinson, Putney, and Carter up front. For the Stanford Cardinal, the higher seed 3-guard offense with Brown, Randall, and Mann, Zimmerman, and Owens in the front court. Johnny Dawkins in his 4th year as the head coach, of course, the long-time assistant at Duke under Mike Krzyzewski, and one of the best players the ACC ever produced, 2-time consensus All-American.
I told the players last night at the NIT dinner that Johnny Dawkins was really the face of Duke basketball. He is really, in my mind, the guy that turned the whole thing around for Coach K. Obviously, Jay Billis and Mark Allery.
I was just going to say, what's wrong with Jay?
Well, Jay was a
He's
great
been telling me that for years.
Well, Jay didn't score 2,600 points.
Well, he was a key factor.
Yeah, he certainly was.
He assigned the seats on the bus, you know, because he had Allery playing as well.
Chaz Williams hits all 3 free throws. He's also very good at that. Williams terrific at everything. And Derek Kellogg, 12 wins his first year, 12 the second, 15, and now 25. So he has turned this program around. Former player at UMass under John Calipari and an assistant coach with him. That's Dwight Powell getting his first basket.
Well, he's played well in this tournament. He's a confident performer, and so is this guy in the middle, Randall. Nice give.
3-on-2 and a very athletic layup by Owens. Just glides to the rack.
They look long and lean, don't they?
No, they do. And, you know, as Mike mentioned, there are 10 freshmen and sophomores on this team with a really good recruiting class, 3-man class coming in.
Good help on the baseline.
Vincent can't get it to fall, got his own rebound, and scores on the follow. You know, you look at Johnny Dawkins, you said he was the face of the program. He was the reason Mike Krzyzewski had that early success, being able to recruit a great player to a tough academic situation. Johnny Dawkins trying to do the same thing at Stanford.
Absolutely. And while there's no Johnny Dawkins yet in the program, I mentioned they've got a guy, Roscoe Allen from Las Vegas, a really talented forward, Christian Sanders from Houston. the program is definitely headed in the right direction. We saw them early in the year against Syracuse, and they had Syracuse beat, Bill.
They did play very well. Do you think it's easier to recruit there?
I think it's easier than it was.
Smaller pool, right?
Yeah, you know what? Look at what Tara Vanderveer's done. She's in the Final Four. How about Andrew Luck and the job that David Shaw's doing on the football side? Of course, Jimmy Harbaugh started it. And look at Sheesh now.
Boy, that's Duke defense, by the way. Excuse me, Fran. Great help and support.
They have a lob pass from Javon Farrell. Bright is into the ball game. Talk about a kid who is instant offense. He is leading them in the NIT almost 19 points a game off the bench. He's a fire starter.
He is, and he's not afraid at the rim either. Looks like, oh, speaking of afraid.
How about that?
Woo. Solid. He is certainly not joshing around with that move.
Tell you what, I mentioned earlier, he's one of the best low post scorers in the Pac-12. Take a look at this quick spin move right now. Young man from Delaware, spent some time in New York, and of course he was here in November, so he's comfortable on this court.
Does a nice job away from the trap as well. He's got a back to the basket move and a drop step. Solid performer. Let it loose, kid.
Well, averaging 11.7 points a game for the season.
You love those seniors who tell those underclassmen, hey, you know, this is my last go-round. Let's keep it going a little bit.
I had seniors who told the other guys, don't listen to them.
Let's put the balls away.
Which way's the beach? Williams, who leads his team in scoring and assists, gives it up to Terrell Vincent. Only a 30% long-range shooter, but that one was dead on.
They play with a freedom, though. Builds your confidence as well.
Stanford has hit its last 4.
Way up there, got away with it.
Brown lost it on the way in. Farrell can't hit the runner, and a foul will take us the other way. The Minutemen of UMass, 27,269 students on that big campus. And of course, the notable alumni, Dr. J, the great coach Rick Pitino, and the great anchor and reporter Wendy Mix.
Pretty good mix. The doctor. John Calipari started that up there, didn't he?
He sure did.
One of the great reconstruction jobs of all time.
And I think that's why people are so excited about Derek Kellogg, because he was part of that program.
Got 3 cracks at it. Finally made it fall was Josh Eustace, the sophomore out of Great Falls, Montana. He gets in the scorebook for the first time. Knocked away, and a fast break opportunity for the Cardinal.
He does a great job with body contact. A little hesitation in the blow by. Plus, he can make that 3, too.
Yeah, he reminds me of a J.J. Barea type. You know, he's got that compact fire hydrant build.
Vincent committed the last foul. Take a look at the notable alumni at Stanford. As you said, Bill, a lot of these guys you're going to be working for. But in the athletic world, Elway, McEnroe, Woods. 3 different sports at the highest level.
The gentleman producing this game tonight, Kim Belton, was a great player in the late 70s for the Stanford Cardinal.
Terrific rebounder.
He punched me out on an evening or 2.
Well, Lorenzo Romar told Kim today, he said, you know, we had guys on our team at Washington who were afraid of you. And,
wasn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I'm afraid of him now.
Well, he's got more authority now.
He does. He's actually bigger.
Aaron Bright knocks down the free throw. 12:39 to go in the first half. 20-14 for Stanford, and another turnover.
But Williams, you can just see the effort, even if he lost that ball. Didn't give it up easily.
Trotter is in for Stanford. This is Bright. In and out, back in again. He shoots 43.3% from beyond the arc. The kid has a terrific stroke. And it's a 7-0 run for the Stanford Cardinal. They're up 23-14, 12:20 to go first half. Welcome back to Madison Square Garden for a semifinal of the Final Four. And Stanford off to a hot start, 23-14 over UMass. Turnovers have fueled this run, guys.
Well, I think when you play fast like UMass does, they play fast, but they have turned the ball over a bunch this year.
I think the key is using good judgment if you don't have something at this speed, and that's why I think they both have improved.
Maxi Esho, number 1, is into the game for the Minutemen.
Nice cut.
Shot just off. Putney had a good look from the left side of the lane.
One of those maybe one bounce to the left hand, Fran, huh?
And use the left hand, right?
Nice cut and a great dish inside. Shot partially blocked, but rebounded by Trotter. He kicks it back outside for 3, and Anthony Brown knocks, or check it, Randall knocks it down, and it's 26-14.
These are 36% shooters. You better cover the guards. Trotter, yeah, got a hold there.
Stanford having its way with Massachusetts right now. It's 26-14. Now you're in New York. 32 teams began their march crisscrossing the country. Welcome to New York. Only 4 remain with hopes intact. Yes, it's New York. In the offing, win and what could have been is a distant memory. Need I say New York? The prize is within reach, no longer abstract. By the way, it's only in New York, New York. We're at the NIT semifinals. A 10-0 run for Stanford has given the Cardinal a 12-point lead over UMass. 345 teams started the season with dreams of grandeur. There are 8 left. 4 in the NCAA, 4 here at Madison Square Garden for the NIT.
As a youngster, did you come over here?
All the time. I remember when Tom McMillan won the MVP in 1972. How about that?
Did Lefty have a red carpet in those days?
No, but he had Jim O'Brien with the red hair.
Oh yeah,
Bozo. Right?
No, we played him here, and he did have the red carpet with O'Brien.
Yeah. Winnie Elmore.
Nice pass.
Great feed inside for the easy lay-in for Sean Carter.
And Bill made a great point. You know, Raphael Putney's one of those guys that, because of his body frame, didn't get a lot of high major looks, but really talented young man.
Doesn't really pass the eye test.
No.
I'd take him in a second, though.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the kind of kids we lived on.
Aaron Bright out between the rings.
Well, they do a nice job breaking you down. Ooh, good call. Now, see,
yeah,
this is
officiating.
I agree, but I love a force out. I hate to say that. I mean, that was a little bit of a foul.
Yeah.
But a lot of times you'll see a bang, bang, just over the sideline. Give it back.
Would you have given it? Oh, you mean, so give the ball back to Stanford?
Yeah.
We did that in the schoolyard. Did you do that?
No, we never gave it back.
I think that'd be an outstanding rule.
It's not a chippy kind of a foul.
See if Chaz Williams can get on track. The 5'9" Mighty Mite drives the baseline, got down to the baseline, couldn't do anything with it. Now tries a backhand pass, and it's knocked out of bounds to UMass.
Well, you got to keep your eyes on this guy.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody like this, Fran?
I did at Manhattan, but you know, I do know when you played against guys like that, don't help. Let him shoot. Make him shoot, and don't take away the passing lanes.
Well, that's the Pat Riley thing. Get it to the rim. He's got to really make a tough shot.
And that's going to be a backcourt violation.
I think Stanford's done a really good job of controlling his penetration. They get all those white jerseys in the lane. He really hasn't had any passing lanes.
The wall, as Johnny talked about today, they all collapse and face him.
If you're a UMass fan, don't get too disturbed about being behind. They trailed Drexel by 17 and made a huge comeback to win that game. And the way they jack up threes, getting points is not all that hard. But here is a charge on Esho.
How about Bright? The toughness, we talked about Williams. The little guy with the big ticker stepping in.
Pretty bright play right here, don't you think?
Yeah, he didn't even feel it.
Yeah.
Goodness, a little out of control.
You know, we used to teach the charge was just lift your toes off the ground, so when as soon as the contact hits, you automatically fall back.
So you recruited toe dancers.
Yeah.
UMass has committed 7 turnovers. They only have 6 field goals so far in this game. Thursday night on ESPN, an exciting night of college hoops for 7 Eastern. Our NIT championship game from the Garden. Then at 9, check out the State Farm College Slam Dunk and 3-point championships. All games also on ESPN3, live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. Last foul was on Jesse Morgan, his second. And it sends Randall to the free throw line for a 1-and-1.
This young man, Mike, is going to be a terrific player. He was the co-Illinois Player of the Year last year. His team won a state title. Rock Island is in that Quad Cities area and highly recruited. So Johnny Dawkins went to the Midwest and grabbed him. And he had a terrific freshman year, all Pac-10 rookie team.
And certainly the most high-profile recruit that Johnny has had.
Yep, and that's what I think more and more kids are thinking about the combination of
academics and athletics.
It's becoming a little more chic, I think.
Are you suggesting I didn't?
Well, you did go to LaSalle.
Riley will fire from long range.
A little bit of a settle deep, but that's the looseness that they play at.
UMass has gone cold, right into the lane, throws it away. Picked by Riley, and he returns the favor.
Nice
right
spread.
Wide open, he wants the ball. He had it blocked. Scramble offense and defense for everybody.
How about that closeout?
Williams, circus shot, won't go. Randall on the run for the Cardinal. Right. Owens, in and out.
Tell you what, it's fun to watch, but boy, you're on the sideline, it's tough to take, don't you think?
Yeah, you got at this time of year, you know what? These teams have won 3 in a row in the NIT. Let them play. Let them play.
No wonder they go 10 deep.
Yeah,
they have to.
I think both teams have had success at the end of course, UMass has played that way all year, but Stanford's turned up the tempo at the end of the year.
They have scored very, very well in this tournament. Riley, lob, blocked. That's outstanding defense by Hustis.
Tell you what, that was a heck of an effort.
Hustis on the other end. Comes up short, rebound to Carter. The only way to get a rest is to have somebody make a shot.
Or foul.
Screen for Williams.
And that's what they're worried about, how he's going to handle that offensively.
Wide open, top of the circle, and that's Putney, the 6'8", 185-pound forward.
He does have a great stroke watching him today, doesn't he?
Yeah. I love his wingspan, too. He's got that condor-like frame.
I would say the aircraft carrier.
Wright trying to penetrate against Riley, kicks it out to Brown. His 3 won't go, and all of a sudden Stanford can't buy a bucket.
Really may have to start running some stuff.
Foul on Bright. Boy, you just take a look at Putney and you want to buy him a cheeseburger.
You pick it up. Fred would never go for it.
You make shots like that, I will buy him a burger. Derek Kellogg might.
Great defensive play.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the NIT is brought to you by Audi, Truth in Engineering, and Fidelity Investments. Turn here.
Ryan Burr in studio, checking out the women's championship over on ESPN. It's UConn and Kentucky. Trip to the Final Four in Denver at stake. Tiffany Hayes, nice move to the bucket. Gives UConn the 4-point lead. Hayes not done. Still up by 4. Tiffany Hayes showing some range here. from the corner, knocks down the three. Once again, this game over on ESPN. UConn up by 5, 28-23. Mike?
Ryan, thanks very much. In the women's tournament, of course, Pat Summitt has seen her season come to an end. Hopefully not her career. We wish her nothing but the best in the future. And Baylor is for real, obviously. Maryland and Notre Dame. That's going to be an interesting matchup. Notre Dame has rolled in the tournament. 3 wins by double digits.
They'll have to contend with Alyssa Thomas. She's had another terrific year, the sophomore.
Brenda Fries has reloaded. And how about this? Freddie Riley. Holy cow.
I think Derek Kellogg tells those guys you hit the NBA three, it's 4 points.
And that was just a pass inbound, step in, get those puppies organized.
Stanford has missed 7 of its last 8. Owens, who is the leading scorer with 9 points, is fouled.
Look at this. Wow. I usually see that on the baseline. You know, the guard comes in. Look at him organize a stroke for the ages. Effortless.
I hated that NBA line when I was coaching because the players, they wanted to prove that they could shoot that NBA three just in case there were a few scouts.
Sneaking a peek at them.
Owens short on the 1-and-1, but he gets the loose ball on the tip out. Man.
Well, they stayed at home pretty good. Williams almost picked that off.
Looks like a little zone maybe.
Randall, good bounce pass inside, but the shot won't go. Knocked out of bounds. Still out to Stanford with 23 on the shot clock.
But Dirk's really working those sidelines. Isn't he mad those guys not getting defensive rebounds? We get some of the chat from Brian O'Connell.
Stanford having trouble getting in, and they finally get it to Owens, and he stepped on the sideline.
You see a lot more teams doing that zone on the baseline and stretching out and playing man. Bandy, one of the originals, I think, Kevin Stalling.
UMass has gotten itself back into this game, down by only 6 now. And Putney is going to show you he's got some real range. Halfway down, came back out.
It's a style.
Nothing is falling for Stanford. Even point-blank efforts at the rim and tips are not going down. Williams back the other way. Ridden as he went down the lane, and a foul.
I think that may have been on Randall, number 2, if it was. These are deep, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe move the ball around. Give me a catch or 2.
There's the difference between the college line and the NBA line.
Anytime you get college players playing on an NBA court, they want to show you that they have range.
They're playing for something else than the alma mater, huh?
And Stanford's done a good job of controlling Chaz Williams so far.
As best they can, I think.
He really hasn't been that much of a factor. Esho misses his jumper.
I think their defense, UMass, has been the factor. They're getting out on shooters, not easy looks, other than rebounding.
Forced 9 misses in the last 10 shots.
And they stuck in.
Man into the lane, good feed, but it's blocked by Carter. And the foul on the follow.
Oh, Victor Cruz from the New York Giants.
What a terrific season he had.
How about that? He made some big catches, didn't he?
Dancing with the stars. Tell you what, unbelievable coverage.
Yep,
and that baby dropped right in there.
He's a Patterson kid, right?
Yeah, local Jersey kid. UMass.
Certainly got to be best friends with Eli Manning in the season.
And it's a great point because, you know, Victor Cruz was, I think, on the, I don't know if he was active last season, but during the strike, they worked out every day over in
Hoboken, New Jersey.
That field there.
What it takes. Eustace with a miss, and we'll go the other way.
Silly one, which happens. Eustace, I believe.
Yeah, Mike, I think you made a great point earlier. UMass plays that kind of style where they're really never out of it. And you mentioned that Drexel game. They were down 17 with 15 minutes to go. And, course, Derek Kellogg beat his mentor, Bruiser Flint.
Good friends, good pal. Bruiser got a nice extension.
It's tough to go to your coach and say, when you're down 17, don't worry about it. But a guy like Chaz Williams will make a difference.
Did you see his eyes light up when he saw Zimmerman guarding him, though? Ooh, the blow-by by the little guy.
Wright, who is the leading scorer in the NIT for this ball club. Zimmerman.
Everything but.
Man can't get it to fall. Riley pull up for three.
That one I didn't mind. Guys were at the rim, and actually he was within the NBA line.
I think he was too close.
Threw him off.
Ooh, well, that's a push off.
Yeah, 22, you got it. Yep. Man got frustrated.
I think Chaz Williams was attacking his ankles. And what a great season for UMass. And you mentioned the way they built this program. Really struggled the first year. And I think people were really excited about Derek Kellogg taking over because of how much he had invested as a player.
Exactly.
A hometown favorite, so to speak, huh? He'd been through it up there.
Carter with the left hand. The slam follow won't go for Putney. Boy, can he get up there. And now Putney out of the corner.
Oh, nice job.
This kid's impressive, Bill.
He is, and a nice job stretching and becoming available over there, Mike. We talked about length, Fran.
Not only stretched the defense, but that arc had, that was high arc.
It's an 11-1 run for UMass.
Watch this release, Mike. Look how high this ball goes.
Tell you what,
see it.
He never played the church league with us, I don't think.
It hit the ceiling.
No
right?
scrapers. How about that at that length?
Yep. I like it. Watch this arc. This is perfect arc. Even the mathematicians at Stanford would appreciate that one.
Pretty good.
I can't remember my formula for parabolas.
Exactly. I was thinking of that word, but I didn't know what it meant.
How about some of the majors? You start reading the majors, I got nervous. Much like taking the course.
Well, let's take a look at some of the range shots on these guys.
Look at this one.
And the kick. They get down the floor quickly. Guys are confident with their stroke. Some open jumpers, but Stanford going cold. I think they got to go inside.
How about 2 feet outside of the NBA line? Stanford has 1 point in the last 5 minutes and 14 seconds, and they let UMass back in this game. Anthony Brown ends that drought. 31-27.
I think those who get easier twos might win this one. Force from elsewhere. Powell with that little nickel dimer.
Powell commits the personal. He's a sophomore out of Toronto, Canada.
Fred, you know those little cheap fouls we always complain about? Like that one.
Yeah.
You have to call it.
I agree.
But how about a rule, top of the key, the small change reach in, like, unless it causes a turnover. You're looking at me like a nuts.
Yeah, because you know, how the heck are those officials going to know the difference?
Well, top of the key's there, and the top of the key's at the other end.
What happens at the end of the game when the guy nickel dimes you and you can't get a shot off?
No, I'm saying, in other words,
right midcourt, Brown doesn't. Vincent knocks it away.
Punctuation.
Any doubt about his athleticism?
Forget the 3. Go to the 10.
Freddie Riley out of Ocala, Florida. Man, nice spin, but waiting for him is Carter.
Now, this is one where I think Stanford may have to get control in the half court. Now, this team looks like they're willing and able, and they get the charge. Heads up play. Is that Powell down there? Yep.
If that's Chaz Williams, it's his 3rd. And it is. They cannot afford to have their point guard and leading scorer out of the game. Wow.
Brian Burns studio coming up at the half. After 5 very successful seasons at Kansas State, Frank Martin is moving on to the SEC. We'll have the latest on the coaching change. Plus, we look ahead to Saturday's semifinals in New Orleans. Doug Gottlieb, Miles Simons break down both huge games with a chance to play for the national title. Guys?
All right, Ryan, thanks very much. We have 3:31 to go here in the first half at Madison Square Garden. Semifinal number 1 of the NIT. And Stanford with a 2-point lead over UMass. And Stanford let the Minutemen right back in this thing.
Yeah, they really make shots.
They cooled off.
And how about the ability of Riley? I mean, now they go with Morgan at the point, and this kid makes the 3 and then goes to the rim. And they're loose.
And Derek Kellogg has played 8, 9, 10 guys all year. He's got a couple guys injured. It's a young team. That's the other thing about the NIT, Mike, that we always talk about. Teams like this UMass team and Stanford can bring a lot of guys back. This is like playing in a bowl game.
It is exactly that. All the young guys get those extra games, extra practices.
That's it. They ran something after the timeout, and now the little small change by Powell. Goodness, giving up those easy ones.
Powell commits his second personal. And how often do you see somebody miss a shot and then commit a silly little foul afterward out of frustration?
And he knows it too, but I like them coming out of timeout and running the set. They got to gather this game again. It's escaped them.
Carter out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, the leading rebounder on this ball club, 6.5 a game. But in the NIT, over 8. Missed the free throw, almost got his own rebound, but did knock it away, so UMass will get a fresh 35. That should never happen. Riley.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see how they play the last 3 minutes, UMass, without Chaz Williams.
They're a little mixed up here in their defensive coverage.
Man left all alone, tried to penetrate and then backed it out. The jumper won't go for Powell. The follow does.
Terrific inside position.
Owens now has 11 in the ballgame. Riley.
Buddy Riley's not shy, is
No,
he?
not at all. He's in midtown trying to light it up a little bit.
Oh, there's nobody shy on this ball.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. We don't want to give him a bad rap. He's having fun out there.
Tipped away to Bright.
Pretty good D here. Little matchup? No, they're back man.
First time the shot clock's gone under 10 the entire night. Straight pass to Owens. Owens gives it off. Knocked out of bounds by Putney. 2 on the clock. Outstanding defense.
Fred, how about when the guys go with that free hand? Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
That's all right, Bill. The 2012 Men's Final Four starts Saturday on CBS at 6 Eastern. Louisville against Kentucky for a shot at the national championship. For more, go to NCAA.com. Inbounds and a great play set up for Houston. That's about all you can do.
That's exactly right. You got to know that.
The old dummy play, really. Just stares straight ahead. Who do you like this weekend there, kid?
Well, I like Ohio State. No, I'm Ohio State, Kentucky, and I think Kentucky's going to win it. But I'm going to tell you, that's going to be a tussle with Ohio State.
Leave your feet. Putney a little upset. I thought he did have an angle, but take a look at this, Fran.
Oh, we love this play. Anytime the defense is not, look, he's not watching. Oh, too late.
You always pay for it. There's nothing else you can really do.
Exactly.
It sort of amazes you when they're down to that play, and it works reasonably consistently.
Defender, what did UB used to say? Ball you man, Alvaro Balbo, right?
No vision, and even the guy harassing the inbound passer, he's got to be active and help.
Aaron Bright's been very quiet. Right behind the back dribble, leaves him wide open, and then he fires up an air ball. And that wasn't even a normal air ball. That thing missed by 1.5 feet.
UMass has done a really good job on Aaron Bright, who's come into this championship red hot in the NIT.
They've done a good job banging him with screens in the backcourt, too. He's taking a few shots.
Carter was asking for it inside, now comes out beyond the circle to get it. Farrell trying to penetrate, uses the window. Javon Farrell out of Woodbridge, Virginia. Inside a minute, first half. Jump hook by Owens, no, one and done.
They got to get shots like that a little bit more, I think, instead of jacking the deep ones. And nice lead, lost control because of good help.
Vincent lost it on the way in, and then a foul.
I think on Carter, Mike.
Looked like Carter.
Well, he's a big, strong kid, isn't he, Fran?
6'9", 250. That's 2 on Carter.
You know, aside from all the extra games you get to play, there's only a couple of champions at the end of the year, you know. And Stanford's been in a drought lately, and of course UMass, since '96, right, when they went to the Final Four?
Only 2 teams leave happy.
Absolutely.
What do you think of it? As good as your record is, that last one is tough to absorb.
Eustace missed the first. He'll get another.
I like this kid. I saw him early in the year here at the Garden. He plays with great energy. All the coaches in the Pac-12 took notice of this guy, a hustle-type player.
Looks like he's trying to bring the 60s back to Stanford. 36-31, and Chaz Williams is going to come back in with the 3 fouls.
Boy.
Now, do you tell them when you put them on the court, do not drive?
I was going to say the same thing. Don't charge.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's worth it. I'm not, you know.
If he were a shooter, maybe coming off the screen or something, is that what you're thinking?
Well, I'll tell you in 30 seconds whether it was a good idea.
They're going to give him a ball screen and trap him. That's what I think. Yeah. Because he's going to find somebody. He won't get that deep.
I think the only thought, if you're going to do this, is a screen and let him shoot the 3.
That's not worth the possession. It really isn't. I don't think.
9 to shoot.
Trap it.
There's the screen. He kicks it off. 3 is too strong. Offensive rebound to Farrell. No.
Zimmerman, I think, with the free arm, but that's one good thing. That offensive glass, you take that deep jack, weak side rebounding.
Zimmerman picks up his first. And Farrell will go to the line. 70% free throw shooter this year. .8 seconds on the clock. Hits the first.
He's another one of those guys. If you're going to be playing 8, 9, 10 guys, you need energy guys like Javon Farrell. He's done a good job this year for Derek Kellogg. They don't play quite like Calipari's teams.
Oh, no,
Calipari's a power, remember, bang it inside.
You know, it is interesting to watch. I think coaches steal a lot of things from whoever they work with. Oh, what a mistake here.
Picks and a chance to score at the buzzer, but Farrell couldn't hit the 3. But UMass fights its way back into this ball game. Josh Owens, the leading scorer on the court, 11 points. He had a really good start. Now we go to Ryan Burr in the studio for our halftime report.
Hi, Mike. Thanks so much. 3-point game at the Garden. Stanford on top at the break. Welcome into the halftime report. Ryan Burr along with Miles Simon and Doug Gottlieb. And guys, big coaching news as down to 4 teams in the NCAA tournament. Frank Martin will be leaving Kansas State after 5 extremely successful seasons to take over at South Carolina. It is a 6-year contract worth more than $2 million a year. Takes over a team that finished dead last year in the SEC. So, Miles, start with you. Frank Martin became the face of Kansas State, built on toughness, and you take a look at just how successful he was there. One of the 4th most winningest percentage, 4th all-time in wins. He won at least 20 games in each of his 5 seasons and took a team to the NCAA tournament 4 times, winning 6 games along the process. Why make the move from Kansas State to the SEC in South Carolina?
Well, I think it's a chance for him to be closer to what his main recruiting base is. He's from Miami, Florida. Now he's going to really have a chance to recruit that area. Not that he hasn't done so in the past, getting a guy like Angel Rodriguez to come to Manhattan, Kansas. But I think when you're in Kansas, you don't have like the great recruiting base in that state. There's not always great players coming out year in and year out. And a lot of times those kids, if there is the great ones, they want to go to Kansas. But now to South Carolina, I think a little bit more fertile recruiting ground for Frank Martin.
There's a breakdown in communication, breakdown the relationship between he and his athletic director. So he moves on, he gets a bigger check. But here's the challenge really, I think, for Frank Martin. You know, Bob Huggins preceded him. He was a Bob Huggins assistant. And they had to instill a culture of winning, something that Kansas State hadn't had over the previous 15 or so seasons. They don't have that at South Carolina. South Carolina's got great basketball history, but it's nearly ancient history. It's in the 70s. It's Frank McGuire era. That's a tough thing to turn around, even if you do have a good recruiting base. And plus, when he takes over, he doesn't have Billy Walker sitting there. You know, he doesn't have Michael Beasley sitting there as he did with his first teams when he's at K-State. He did a very good job in Manhattan. It's not an easy job. This is a big challenge. Thankfully, he's got 6 years to turn that challenge around.
6 years for sure. You know, one thing, he will instill a toughness that they haven't seen in South Carolina basketball-wise in a long time. Let's move to another big story in the sporting world. That's with the New Orleans Saints, as head coach Sean Payton says he'll decide in the next few days whether to appeal a season-long suspension the NFL doled out for his part in the Saints' bounty system. Payton says he will talk with his mentor Bill Parcells to see if he has any interest in possibly coaching the Saints this upcoming season. When we come back, we will move on to the Final Four in New Orleans. 2 games, 2 winners that will move on Monday to play for a national title. We're back after this. Ryan Burr, Miles Simon, Doug Gottlieb with you over on ESPN. It is the women's basketball tournament. Trip to the Final Four at stake. Kentucky and UConn's. Stephanie Dolson, nice feed inside to Kelly Ferris. UConn led it 9-zip. Still in the first, though, Kalina Snowden hits the 3. Kentucky down 4 later now. Dolson to Tiffany Hayes. Hayes from the corner drains the 3. And it's a 7-point game. UConn end of the half. Huskies tie game. 2.1. Kelly Ferris gets it off in time. Can't happen. 41-39. That's the last point. I guess you're right. Last point. 41-39. Connecticut goes to the locker room with the lead. Once again, that's over on ESPN, and will be followed by the #1 seed Notre Dame taking on Maryland. Same situation there. Winner on their way to Denver to play in the Final Four. What to watch for next here on ESPN2, or should I say what to watch for Saturday, will be Louisville taking on Kentucky in one semifinal at 6:09, and Ohio State taking on Kansas in the other semifinal. Well, guys, Kentucky comes into this game as an overwhelming favorite to not only beat Louisville, but to ultimately cut down the nets. So I'll ask you, Louisville, Ohio State, Kansas, who in your mind best chance to beat Kentucky?
I think it's Kansas, and the reason why, you have Thomas Robinson, who's a National Player of the Year candidate, 26 double-doubles on the season. I think he can be really effective inside, going against Anthony Davis or Terrence Jones or Wiltshire, whoever that Kentucky would put on him. I love Tyshawn Taylor, the point guard matchup over Marcus Teague on the perimeter. Tyshawn Taylor, now remember, Kansas has won 4 games in this tournament. In 3 of them, they didn't score over 65 points. Then when Tyshawn Taylor played great in the regional final with 22 points, that was the difference maker. They were winning their games with defense, so I feel they can really guard Kentucky at a high level. I think Kansas is the team that could pull that upset if they played each other for the title.
I think they both can. I agree with Miles, though. Something intrigues me about Kansas. Now, they played earlier this year. Matter of fact, it was on today on ESPNU, and I was watching the game. And it's interesting how teams evolve. You know, Kentucky was pressing full court, and Kansas looked completely disheveled. Although, on the other hand, Kentucky had no half-court offense at that point. And they've shown themselves to have a pretty substantial half-court offense, especially you go to that Indiana game, which was an outstanding offensive basketball game. I'm with you, because the way to beat Anthony Davis is to run ball screens and get him away from the hoop. And I think Kansas is more apt to do that than in Ohio State.
And I think also you got to look at Jeff Withey as a completely different player than when they played the first time this year. Yeah. This is a young man that ended up being the Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12. He can match up with Anthony Davis on the inside.
Well, before we get to Kentucky and Kansas, Ohio State and Louisville might have something to say about that on Saturday. Game we're watching right now, Stanford up 3, 36-33 on UMass. Back with more after this. Ryan Burr in studio. Coming up next year on ESPN2, the second NIT.
Is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And the Can-Am Spyder Roadster. Discover riding reinvented with the Can-Am Spyder Roadster.
What to watch for next year on ESPN2, the second NIT semifinal between Minnesota and the top seed Washington Golden Gophers, making their first appearance in New York since 2003. They have 2 titles. The Huskies are the NIT semifinals for the first time in school history.
Minnesota winning road games to get their way to Madison Square Garden.
Game we're watching right now, Stanford up 3 at the break. Freddie Riley throwing it down on the break. Second half action for the Garden next.
Now you're in New York. 32 teams began their march crisscrossing the country. Welcome to New York. Only 4 remain with hopes intact. Yes, it's New York. In the offing, win and what could have been is a distant memory. Need I say New York? The prize is within reach, no longer abstract. By the way, it's only in New York, New York. Halftime at the Garden, where Stanford is leading Massachusetts 36-33. Welcome to this historic arena, everybody. Stanford with a 3-point lead at the half. Mike Patrick, Fran Fraschilla, Bill Raftery, it's great to have you with us. Pretty good first half, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Bill wanted to see a little more woo-woo. And we only had 4 fast break points, which surprises me the way the game started out with both teams getting up and down.
Who gets control of this? When you think of it, I think you got to run some half-court stuff at some point.
Too much woo-woo.
Yeah, and maybe 1 extra pass.
Yeah.
Not only for tonight, but what we see for the future is pretty good for these ball clubs.
No, I think so. You have 2 young teams, and take a look. Stanford started off hot tonight. And then they did a nice job of attacking the press early, got some good looks. And then UMass climbed back in them and made it a little bit tougher. And they have challenged at the rim. Long and athletic, UMass.
And I'll tell you, Raphael Putney, who's taking it out near us, just a great feel for the game. He's done some nice things, and you're right. You don't get anything easy around the 10.
Maybe the biggest factor we're looking at in this entire game, the 3 fouls on Chaz Williams, the superstar from Massachusetts. Not only their leading scorer, but their point guard. How long can he stay out there without getting into further foul trouble?
They've done a nice job either switching or handling the ball screen with him thus far. Look at this.
Uh-oh, Putney.
Now that was Julius-like, as in Doctor.
He's had a couple of unbelievable dunks this year, and I had flashback right there of the St. Joe's game when he got on Sports Center.
Make them work a little bit. Don't you think if you don't get the easy, quick one?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice easy entry here.
Banked up by Owens, won't go. Offensive rebound, however. Brown tries to dish, but it's picked by Morgan, and then a foul.
And a nice read by Morgan, too, being in the pass line. I'm thinking of Zimmerman. Why would he go right back up with that?
That's
the
good.
Rebound?
Yeah, you know, he's one of those guys that only plays the first 3 or 4 minutes and then comes out, and but you're absolutely right. He was a conscientious objector at the rim.
Now, if I'm out in the perimeter, I like that. But if I'm on the bench, I don't.
Well, that's why you average 4 points a game. Vinson trying to get inside from the lane. Terrell Vinson averages 10 points a game. He's done much better than that in the NIT, 13.5.
And he's good at getting into the lane as well.
Zimmerman.
Well, that might be why, Bill.
Yeah, well, around the rim, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Nice run.
Wouldn't go for Putney, but somehow he got it back. Tries to dish it off, and interior passing for both teams has been an issue.
His length is unbelievable as he gathered that one.
Randall throws up a prayer. Looked like he was trying to draw a foul and didn't get the whistle. Look at the speed on the little guy, Chaz Williams, and then he can't finish. Quickly back the other way. Blocked.
They're going to jump or foul?
It's going to be a foul. Randall thought he had a really good look at it. Fouled by Vinson.
Watch this. You talk about speed. Watch this little guy from Brooklyn trying to take the express down to Coney Island.
And who knows it better than you?
You know, if I were Raphael Putney, and someone's going to hear this from his family or the coaching staff, I would spend all spring and summer on my left hand. He's had a couple moves tonight, Mike, where he's gotten to the rim, but he didn't have the confidence to use the left hand, which would have been the proper play. So work on that big guy this spring and summer. And
I would get him to a pastry shop.
Cannolis?
Not a leave.
Cannolis?
Hey, leave the cannolis. Don't leave the cannolis.
Yeah, you're making me hungry because I haven't got back to Brooklyn yet. Don't remind me of the cannolis.
Well, it's becoming harder to inbound a pass anymore. You notice that, Mike, all the games you do as well?
It's amazing. Except under the basket. You seem to have a free reign there.
But I'll tell you, guys don't work on inbounds plays, I think, like they should, in my opinion.
Williams trying to penetrate, kicks it back outside. Putney. 6 to shoot.
Pretty good defense.
Oh, he saw it.
Williams using that quickness, trying to get open, but goes to the floor, and it's a shot clock violation.
Anybody who puts up a stand, I think, can run away with this game. Some good D, make the team be a little more patient. The woo-wooing can get you in deep trouble.
Jarrett Mann, the senior from Middletown, Delaware, will bring it up against pressure.
And nobody posted. They worked on it today.
Brown, pull-up jumper, no. Long rebound to Owens. Gage getting to see some action, misses his jump shot. Anybody on either one of these teams willing to jack it up from outside. Now Putney for a three. Knocked away and a foul.
From the rear, Morgan, is that a cheap one? Is that 3?
That's going to be 3 on Morgan. So both he and Williams in foul trouble with 3. Tomorrow night on ESPN 7 Eastern, you can catch an NBA battle between the Knicks and the Magic. Also available on ESPN 3 and live on the WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app.
Riley with the alley-oop gets pinned on that particular play. When he walks through, got to be alert for that play. Nice little screen.
You saw Landry Fields, who was interested observer tonight. Vincent. Shoot from anywhere, anytime, right?
Well, I think Stanford has done a good job of walling off that paint, like Johnny Dawkins told us, you know.
And he's also calling plays. They're running sets on this end. And the big guy gets that open jumper.
Be a foul on Gage away from the ball. That's his first.
He's a good shooter too. That shot he had at the top of the key when he first came in, he kind of hesitated to pull the trigger. You got to shoot that.
Teams are a combined 2 for 13 from the floor in the second half so far. Bill, you talked about stops. How about a couple of buckets might decide this? Defense or not?
No, absolutely. The easier the not a good catch here.
Riley not a good throw. And then they throw it away off Mann's hand. Both teams very, very sloppy right now, and it's costing them both. The lead still 3. New York City is just littered with great places to play basketball, reeking with history. This is Rucker Park, and the most famous player to come out of here, guys, Dr. J.
Yep, there he is. Julius, who played at Roosevelt High School on Long Island and played at UMass for Jack Lehman, the late Jack Lehman, a great coach. And Bill, you saw him play in his heyday.
I sure did. Saw them win the championship with Kevin Lockery, and then go down to Philly in that big trade that shook up the world. You know, Wilt went up there, and all the great players used to go up to that park. Maybe not on a regular basis, just to show their wares and let the world know how good they were. Did you recruit up there?
I saw a lot of summer league games up there. A lot of the guys I played, of course, you know, the St. John's and Manhattan guys certainly made their mark up there when I was coaching. Kind of like playing Carnegie Hall, right? If you're a great musician.
You know how you get there then.
Practice. 15:35 to go in this game. Williams, who has been quiet, can't hit the three. Laboring with those 3 fouls. Bright back the other way. Bright, the sophomore from Bellevue, Washington. Started earlier in the year, then sort of hit a wall. Now he's coming off the bench, and he's been explosive doing that. Boy, Owens got a nice touch inside, doesn't he?
He's wide open, too. I mean, he sort of seals his guy with that duck in, and the entry pass on time.
Riley, how about that for a rejection by Owens? Riley will try it from the left of the circle. And tipped out of bounds out to Stanford.
Owens is not as good, but you saw Mike Scott this year from Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a little bit of Mike Scott. He's got that low post game. That's pretty good right there. Nice footwork. And then Mike comes back, Bill, and take a look at this play.
Yeah, pretty good activity. He doesn't want to be embarrassed. That Jim we saw a little bit earlier on the penetration by Riley. Solid help.
Well, Mike Scott had a great year, Mike, didn't he, for Virginia?
Boy, he did. Unbelievable year. And they wipe it out.
If they had had a couple other guys around him, they had so many people hurt, he would have had even a better year, and they'd have gone a lot farther.
Yeah, that's number 3, I believe. Wasn't it on the penetration there?
Bill, do you like the arc this year?
I do. I like the NBA arc better.
Yeah. The one thing I don't like about the arc, the only thing is I thought sometimes officials, and most of them made the right call, is they were more concerned about whether the player had their feet outside the arc and whether they were established.
Well, yeah, that's a great point. Nice cut to set this up, and what a look.
Yep.
Graham gets the bucket off the dish from Farrell.
Oh, that's a steal.
Well, it was hanging up too long.
Riley dishes to Williams all the way to the scoop. The little guy slicing between defenders.
Double scoop.
What a flair this kid has.
The lead is 1.
Nice use of the floor.
Right into the lane with a floater. Wright gets it back, stepped out of bounds.
Watch this ball movement right here. Farrell, the dish.
Well, that cutting is so important, isn't it? How about this one? A little ball by. Ooh, you see the A-train to Brooklyn? He has some speed and a lot of courage around the rim.
Last time UMass led, it was 6-5. Farrell is fouled on the way to the bucket. It's going to be on Hustis, his second.
Well, they can look a little out of sorts sometimes, UMass, but because they constantly put the pressure on you, they look like a team of runs. And you talked about it earlier, Mike. They've had some great comebacks this year, including against Drexel, where they trail by 17.
I like when they gave that foul to Randall. That's 4 on him.
Boy.
Wow. Sorry, Mike. I like the way they drive, though. And when they drive, they're a little more effective. Maybe with a kick out or an attempt to get to the free throw line.
Randall will have to sit with 13:38 to go on the clock.
Johnny Dawkins giving him a little lesson right there. Jason Randall's had a terrific freshman season.
This is a unique place, though. We know some guys get a little slow start in this building, trying to do too much, reach in, get themselves in trouble.
We're tied at 40, 13.5 left. Semifinal number 1 from Madison Square Garden. Hustis, no, but the long tip. And Bright fouled on the way in.
It might be Riley. The quick jacks, they'd be better served maybe to run their stuff and end up with the ball back in Bright's hands. He's pretty constructive with the bounce. Or get Johnny out there to run the show.
You know, when Owens passes back out there, I think he just got to reestablish and post up that second time.
Bright got it into Owens, tried to go to the rim, knocked away by Carter, but there's the follow.
Yep.
There you go, Fran.
That's the guy that you got to play for, I think.
Nice help. Foul on the side. And a nice assistance.
Oh, this is quick jumping right here. See, I think he's hard to guard tonight. Now, he misses this one, but watch this, quick off his feet, and then a power move for the senior.
Down the other end, Eustace helping out, too.
Young man's already got his degree from Stanford, working on his master's.
Farrell gives it up to Williams. Vincent trying to back in. Williams had the three and passed, and had the shot blocked by Eustace.
Josh in the right spot.
Wright almost got caught up in the air.
The UMass kids are pretty competitive, though.
Well, they speed you up, don't they?
They do. And a nice, strong check out down there. Farrell in the right spot.
Yeah, you made a great point, Bill. If you're not going to attack that pressure, then slow it up and throw it into Josh Owens. Play through him.
Owens is going to get a breather at the 12:36 mark. Williams pull-up jumper this time, no. Mann brings it up for the Cardinal. Wright seems a little bit reluctant to shoot so far tonight.
You know, they're not giving him much space.
Got a big height advantage on Williams, and he drives into the lane and scores that time.
Well, a little cramp here. Williams going out. I don't know if he got nicked or laboring a little bit.
Limps to the bench and is going to go straight down to the floor to get stretched out.
Did you say height advantage, Mike?
I did.
He did, yeah.
Maybe an inch on Bright, or Bright on him.
Farrell too strong. Good offensive rebound to Carter, and he's fouled.
Boy, I like this guy. Sean Carter, he doesn't want his career to end. Senior from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
The lead is 4, 11:53 left from the Garden.
Brian Burr in studio. Get you caught up to date on the women's tournament. Once again, that's over on ESPN. UConn and Kentucky. It's a 1 versus a 2. It's a 1-point game. Kelly Ferris dishing to Tiffany Hayes. It's good. Currently a 3-point game. 15:48 to go. Once again, over on ESPN. Mike?
Ryan, thanks very much. Here's the bracket in the NIT. Currently, UMass and Stanford. Following this, Minnesota and Washington. Minnesota playing the role of Cinderella in this year's NIT Final Four.
Very much like UMass, they went on the road and got 3 wins away from Williams Arena, including a win at Middle Tennessee State, where they were waiting with 10,000 fans down there.
They said it was a tough place to play.
Yeah.
Great atmosphere.
Dermot Davis's team had a terrific season. They got upset in the Sun Belt, unfortunately.
Sean Carter at the line, where he's only a 54% free throw shooter this year, but makes the first. And this is tough. I mean, you want to win 3 games in a row on the road. That's tough.
A little mental toughness, a little fortitude right there. They were telling us they beat a good LaSalle team as well, Bill.
Had to be a good LaSalle team. Zanini did a great job this year.
Dr. John.
Yeah, happy for him. A little small change. Not happy the 233s getting banged up. Vincent tagged.
Vincent picks up his 2nd personal against Powell.
Speaking of John Giannini, the A-10 had a terrific year, didn't they? Eight teams in postseason.
And solid team.
Solid,
you know. Temple, where St. Louis had a great year.
Yes, they did.
They really rivaled a couple of the power conferences in the quality of their league.
Oh, I think you're right. Xavier, obviously. St. Joe's on the rise.
Yep.
Wright can't penetrate against Morgan. He's done a nice job on him when he's been in there.
It's one of those passes you say, wow, I just throw that baby.
Big guys don't like passes down around their knees.
Well, Brown knew right away.
Farrell, nice drive, puts it up, won't go, and the rebound goes to Zimmerman.
The Powell did not give up on that play. Really forced the miss.
Wright saw an opening, goes for it off the glass. No, Zimmerman tries to tip. That won't go either, but Powell kept it alive in a fresh 35.
Don't you love your guards that can back out and take control?
Yes.
Some occasionally will disappear. Ooh, the other way. Zimmerman with a little elbow, and they're going to look at the monitor.
I think that's a good point, Bill, because I think we'll see where Terrell Vincent, who's that?
Yeah, they're going to look.
That was Maxiesho. No, Vincent.
I think
like
that
it.
was incidental.
I don't mind the foul, but I don't think there's anything real bad here, do you?
Yeah,
No.
The problem,
glancing blow.
I don't disagree with you guys, but the problem is this year, they've called that a flagrant one more often than not. You know, I don't disagree at all. And there might have been a little acting.
Well, I think there was, and the rule doesn't allow you to call a flagrant one on that. He did not bring his elbow up and swing it.
Well, next year we should add in, if you're acting, it's a flagrant one on you.
You know what? That has always been the case. It is a foul to flop. It's never called.
Yeah. See, and you make a good point, Mike, because he did not. He just posted up.
Right.
Sure.
He just posted up.
You teach kids to beg.
Yep, beg for the ball. Yeah, and I think that's what they've got. Jeff Anderson went and took a look at it. And
no, you teach your dog to beg. You teach your kids to act.
Well, you beg to differ. Get that hand up there and hold on. Vincent Owens playing good part. He shapes up beautifully. But chinning is another thing on a rebound, Frank.
Yeah.
You know, you turn and all of a sudden you hit a man and you'll get stuck with it.
Putney comes back in. He's been out for quite a while.
Here comes Chaz Williams back in after those cramps.
Problem with cramps is once they start, they usually don't stop.
The Washington training staff today had a bunch of bananas by the ready because of that potassium. You know, they anticipated some cramping.
I said to Kim Dalton today, I'm working with a couple of bananas today.
Second bananas to you. Putney has his shot blocked. Here comes Bright the other way. Zimmerman. UMass basketball. Williams.
On the three. Goodness. You see it so often, guys just don't close out properly. Never right at a guy. He sticks the leg out. That's, you know.
Especially a big guy like Zimmerman. He missed the layup. It was almost like he was trying to make up for it at the other end. You know, you could see the frustration from the senior, who Johnny Dawkins says he has been a great leader for this team.
You can just see he knows. No one knows better when you make a mistake like that.
Good things are not going to happen if you run straight at a three-point shooter. It's not going to end well. Free throw by Riley. He'll get another. Only a 52% free throw shooter. 1 out of 2. He'll get one more.
Now
Zimmerman will sit with 3.
And Sean Carter is in for UMass. He replaces Raphael
Putney sits. Wasn't in very long. Carter comes back in.
did you see that explanation?
Yeah.
Johnny's not buying it.
Two out of 3 for Freddie Riley.
Here comes that pressure again. Little diamond, trap it, and try to speed this game up. They've done a good job of that.
Dr. Jack did it so often.
Yeah.
Forced different guys to make decisions.
St.
like
Joe's, right?
Yeah, St. Joe's.
He was one of the first guys that really utilized that.
He wrote a book on it.
Yeah.
Pressure nearly worked that time, but they get it across and now set up their offense.
I read the book just to find out how I lost to him.
Owens back in. He's the only player on the court in double figures. Brown with a runner. Anthony Brown makes it a 3-point Stanford lead again.
They just got to grab hold of this game, I think, Stanford, if they want to win. Be solid. Don't go willy-nilly on the offensive end.
Williams held on the way in.
It's been a fun NIT so far. We'll see Terrence Ross, who's really caught fire in these last 3 games. And we mentioned, Mike, Minnesota and UMass both going on the road and winning at some tough places.
And we've got the Big Ten, the Pac-12, and the A-10 represented here in the Final 4.
And a number of pro guys are here for Terrence Ross.
Yeah. Tony Roden as well, although he had a really solid year. In fact, some people were talking about Tony Roden as Pac-12 Player of the Year for a while. Ended up being the freshman of the year, but he's doing it all without a consistent jump shot.
Quite a backcourt, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
This summer, that kid should work on that outside game. Get a good instructor.
Yeah.
I'm sure on the staff they have somebody.
Well, hopefully it'll be for Washington and not some NBA team.
There we go, turnover. Yeah, you're right. Baseline out of bounds.
Pressure finally works.
Yeah.
Well, it gnaws away at you. You got to be prepared each and every time. Key guy is the guy taking it out of bounds, and how about, wow, Cal in his heyday was not like that, right? It was animated.
Derek Kellogg was a point guard for John Calipari.
Oh, he played on some great teams.
Steps. Wow, well,
Williams got away with one.
Nice play.
Good block by Eustace. Just camping in the lane, waiting on somebody. Right?
Look at this. Oh, he should have shot it.
What a pass, though. He had his shot. Powell had his shot blocked. The ball knocked out of bounds. And on second look at that, Bill, he should have shot.
Yeah, I think he was open enough. Could have gone across the rim. And he's got nice little shots around the rim, a little baby hook on occasion.
He does. Here's that drive. Take a look. See, there's nobody on him.
Yeah.
Passes into a teammate with a defender on him. This kid's from Toronto, was top 50 player a couple of years ago. He's just got to get stronger. Really good athlete.
71% free throw shooter. The one thing he has stopped doing was the one thing he was not good at, and that was shooting three-point shots. He's 1 out of 17. That's 5.9. When you're 1 out of 17, you stop.
I like that idea. You sound like a coach.
Yeah, more guys should say that.
You know, and he was probably open, you know. He probably said to Johnny Dawkins, hey, I'm open. Well, there's a reason you're open. Isn't that what, who was that, Pat Riley?
I think it was.
Right, he was playing with Goodrich and West and Chamberlain and missed a shot. And Wilt said, why'd you shoot? He said, I was open. And Wilt said, there was a reason you were open.
Well, Adolph let me shoot it. Well, in those days, they never three, but nice defense again on the baseline.
Minutemen did a good job, forced a timeout. We have 8:58 to go. Stanford clinging to a 2-point lead over UMass.
Say that.
47-45, Stanford on top of Massachusetts. 8:58 to go. Of course, they're very intelligent people out at Stanford, and Hank Lucetti was one of the intelligent guys in the game of basketball. In the era of the two-handed set shot, he developed a one-hander. He played at Madison Square Garden in 1936 against LIU. LIU had a 43-game win streak, and Lucetti led the upset win.
How hard was he to guard, Bill?
It was tough. I didn't have a good day in the garden that day, I'll tell you that. Everybody had a body like that except me in those days.
Good.
The one-hander, right?
But yes, it wasn't a jump shot, but it was more of a one-handed runner. Later would come the jumper.
And that was the argument. You see how Bright can't get that shot free.
Oh,
boy. Hands up. Good job.
Here comes Chaz Williams. Boom! And the jam!
Esho! It's so. Boy, did he fill it and get to the rim?
Nice unselfish play by Williams, too.
Nice pass here.
Good dish to Houston for the easy bucket. Every time UMass makes a run, Stanford has an answer.
The coaching staff at UMass, they say Esho's got some of Putney in him. You know, only a freshman.
Williams, good kick out, and Riley knocks it down. UMass on top for the first time since it was 6-5. Riley's been impressive.
Well, he had that great run with the jam and the outside shot in the first half. Back on fire.
How does Stanford react to being down? Wright again was wide open after he got through traffic. Passed on the shot.
How about Chaz Williams guarding Anthony Brown? He's got like a foot advantage. And he shot over him.
There is the three. Anthony Brown, who's a 34% long-range shooter, with the answer for the Cardinal. Williams with a floater. All of a sudden, they're all going in.
And not back.
Eustace, the pass ahead. The jam is missed by Owens. Holy cow.
Didn't have his legs at that end, but what a look. We got it going now, guys.
They're firing on all cylinders. We're tied at 52 with 7:10 left.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the NIT is brought to you by Fidelity Investments. Turn here. And Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the perfect combination of chocolate and peanut butter.
Ryan Burr in studio. Trip to the Final Four on the line over on ESPN. Kentucky, the 2 seed, UConn, the 1. Huskies currently up 60-49, under 10 to go. Winner on to Denver and the Final Four. Mike, we're tied at 52 at the Garden. Looks like a good one. Back to you.
Ryan, it is, and UMass has made several runs at Stanford. They've been able to counter, but it's been pretty good stuff.
Fran, you were talking about the wall earlier in the game, how they were going to play the ball screen, and initially, you know, pretty good, pretty solid. Forced a deep jag, but
got to stay with it. You know?
Right? Not a real good show, but not a good screen, and sometimes the dribbler starts too early.
Yeah, I agree, but you know, I also think defensively sometimes one breakdown, you know, you've been showing all game, building that wall, and then just takes a little crack, and you get the little guy in there, and he puts the assist on the 3.
Bright wide open for the first time, and he knocks it down. Bright is a 43.3% long-range shooter. He had made 75% of his three-point shots in the NIT coming into tonight.
Tough shot here with Powell with a great kick-out pass to Bright for the open look on that last trip for Stanford.
Williams on his drive was knocked off balance, and now Powell. That's a young man who was 1 for 17. He tries a long-range shot. Farrell just sort of tossed one up there. Vincent had a shot at the offensive rebound, but lost it out of bounds.
That's the 33rd turnover tonight. So I always think sometimes it's bad offense, but it's good defense, too.
Yeah, little combinations, generally speaking.
Especially because of the energy. I like the energy that especially UMass has played with.
They can make you look raggy.
Yeah.
There's the double team. Brown gets it to Powell.
Well, he did a nice job trying to not let Bright touch it.
How about Randall now? He's back at those 4. He's got to be careful, but he's got to stay aggressive as well.
Stack set, nice little pop out, and the acknowledgement from deep.
Brown knocks it down, the lead back to 4.
I'm surprised, Mike, that Chaz Williams is guarding Anthony Brown. That's the second jumper he's hit over him.
Wow, I think they cut on that one, huh?
5:47 to go in a 4-point game. Randall, boy, has he been quiet in this game.
There's all that foul situation, being on the bench for so long. There's that favorite little move and a nice counter on Josh.
Owens had it knocked away by Esho on the way up. Esho grabs the loose ball.
Riley was going to shoot that.
I know, I was dying with that one.
Vincent asking for the ball down low. Farrell with the drive. He kicks it out. Esho, baseline jumper.
That wall is cracking a little.
Well, I like the way you make it collapse and then kick it.
I like it if I'm UMass. If I'm Stanford, I'm thinking, hey, we got to get back to building that wall.
Randall into the lane. That's a blocking foul and a bucket.
How about that for confidence and the left hand as well? We talked about Putney not having one. Very accomplished move.
Nice job maneuvering his body around the defender as well.
Hey, watch this, guys. Watch Chaz Williams. He's got like a foot disadvantage on Anthony Brown. That's 2 jumpers. But I like this guy. You're right, Bill.
Well, that is tough.
Yeah.
Huh? Courage going to the rim.
You know, Jason Randall, we talked about Mike, top 50 player from Rock Island, Illinois, and he really cemented a great relationship with Johnny Dawkins when he was playing for Team USA, the 18 and under team that went to Europe. Johnny made a trip over. He was the only head coach to go see him, and it paid off in spades really when came time to sign him.
Kind of thing that really impresses a kid, doesn't
Absolutely.
Yeah, you used to take the train to go see kids.
As long as I had the easy pass and some tokens, I was good.
Yeah, try taking the train to Germany.
Little tough.
We didn't have the budget in Manhattan.
No, I'm sure
if I get the Westchester, I'd be happy.
Williams, tough pull-up jumper over Brown. Brown's 6'6". Williams, on a good day, maybe 5'7". Thursday night on ESPN, some great college basketball at 7 Eastern, the NIT championship game. Then at 9 Eastern, we'll give you the State Farm College slam dunk and three-point championships.
Yeah, we'll see Marcus Dedman from Missouri. How about John Scherner this year? He can really shoot the three.
That he can. Yep. Peculiar shot, too, as you know. But you mentioned the size difference. A great call by Johnny to run that little, pin down and pop out. Looks like they're trying to do it again.
Powell fouled before he started the drive. That's going to be 3 on Esho.
And Sean Carter stretching out.
It's interesting. Yeah, only one team has it. They didn't have the bananas, I guess. Huh?
Well, you know, the Stanford guys, they pretty smart guys, you know.
Larger contributors.
Of course, I'll hear from the UMass people now about that one. Yeah, the great state university of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Powell misses the free throw. Putney with a rebound, and Williams back the other way. Vinson had it blocked, but a foul.
That was your first turnover of the year, by the way.
Yeah, I know it. Thank you.
Stanford foul number 13.
Owens picks up his second.
This kid was a top recruit also. You know, Derek Kellogg really had to do some rebuilding. Now, Travis Ford, remember when they were here at UMass and NIT a few years ago? He goes to Oklahoma State, but the cupboard really got bare for a while. Terrell Vincent, a kid from Baltimore, one of those guys that got it started, and now he's got a nice complement of guys, I think, to build around.
And he said they had a good group coming in as well. Look at that side now.
Esho, what an effort. Then he has it knocked away. Here's Bright.
Oh, I love this kid. I know he didn't make it, but he does that. I've seen that during the course of, look at some tape, little ball fake.
Did everything he could trying to protect the ball with his body. Ends up getting the follow from Anthony Brown. Williams misses at the other end.
And I saw Johnny Dawkins put the whole side up. We didn't see much of that.
No, it's that time. 3:38 left to go for the 5-point lead.
I still like to see him play through Owens a little bit.
Bright with good ball movement, but the three-pointer won't go for Brown. Loose ball. Stanford has it.
Well, nice play by Powell. He may have gotten away with one, but pretty good activity. Bright's got to come get the ball, I think.
Randall guarded by Williams. Williams has the quickness. Randall has the size. Into the corner with 5 to shoot, and it's a 3 from Anthony Brown. Huge shot.
Anthony Brown is starting to heat up, the sophomore. Part of that excellent sophomore class that Johnny Dawkins has put together. Watch this penetration right here. This is good basketball. And Derek Kellogg calling a timeout. Watch Randall gets a piece of the paint almost and draws the help.
Pretty good job with that hesitation and line them up, but you got two guys who can beat you with the bounce. Pretty effective, Mike.
Brown with 12 points in the second half. And both you guys know as coaches that if your kids are out there and they play really good defense for 30 seconds, and then somebody hits a shot at the end of the shot clock, it's just crushing.
Especially this last play where, you know what, Randall gets in the lane and he falls down and he takes out one of the defenders.
And Brown is really their third option as the three-point shooter.
Watch this.
Just a good job. Really over-helping, maybe.
Can't get out.
Yeah.
Good screen by accident.
But, you know, it is funny how many guys helped on that particular play.
Yeah.
A body block is always a good screen.
That's a good play if you can get away with it. No question. That's just...
Stanford on an 11-3 run to build the lead to 8. Williams gives it up to Morgan. He has not been a factor offensively.
Go to the rim.
Floater.
Strong.
No, but an offensive rebound by Carter.
Well, Aaron Bright, the sophomore from Bellevue, Washington, Seattle area. Little dipsy-do. Didn't make it, but it paid off anyway, Bill Raftery.
Not too bad. He's got some game. He doesn't like it. Get your guys going.
Raymond Bush Playground in Brooklyn. You familiar with that one, friend?
It's also known as Soul in the Hole. Some good players have come out of there. Go back to Fly Williams, who, of course, was a legendary player who was in Rick Tellender's book, right? Heaven is a Playground.
Austin P. And then Vinny Johnson,
Vinny
the microwave.
I played against Vinny in high school.
I'm sure you hugged his hip
I
as
did.
he came off screens, and he still drilled it.
Yeah, I did not guard Vinny, trust me.
Of course, Chaz Williams from Brooklyn.
Yep, Bishop Ford High School.
Carter will go to the line, only a 54% free throw shooter.
He's got a lot of movement in his free throw.
Oh, he does. This is
gives you a little everything here.
a lot of moving parts. It's like a bad policeman signaling cars, you know.
He's made only 2 out of 5 from the line. Hits that one to cut the lead to 7. And here's the full court pressure, which has not been effective very often tonight.
It could open things up if you're not careful, but keep it in front of you as best you can.
Powell helping out against the press. Gets it to the man they want to have it, and that's Bright or Randall. Either one.
Make the clock your friend now. You've got the 7-point lead, time on your side.
UMass just going to play defense on this possession.
This is dangerous. I think when you stand still this long, it's tough to get a good one. They get a little break here.
So they let him run 28 seconds off the shot clock, then commit the foul with 7 left. It's very disheartening to a coaching staff. The 2012 NCAA Men's Final Four begins Saturday rather, on CBS at 6 Eastern. Louisville against Kentucky, an opportunity to go to the national championship game. For more information, go to ncaa.com.
You saw Ohio State this weekend, right?
Yes, I thought they were playing very well.
Give me a guy on that team that's an underrated player that could be a sneaky player.
Lenzel Smith.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, though, we all talk about the big guy up front, but the kid, it all starts with Aaron Craft.
Yeah.
And he is the heart and soul, Mike, of that team. Blood and guts kind of a kid.
Couldn't agree with you more.
I asked the coach in the Big Ten this week, I said, is he as good defensively as people say? He said, better.
He's quicker and tougher and stronger than he looks.
Morgan with a 3, no, knocked out of bounds and out to Stanford.
We want to send our best to Aaron Craft's family. His brother Brandon's heading over to Afghanistan.
You bet.
Touching weekend.
Yep, good family, and his sister's going to play at Ohio State next year for Jim Foster.
Vinson will inbound.
Almost got away with it with that little hold. Chasing Randall. I look for him to have a very good night if they get by this on Thursday. A little more relaxed. Don't get the foul problems.
Washington will play Minnesota next. That'll be an interesting contrast in styles. Big Ten
Powell
physical.
calls a timeout.
30-second timeout.
And the lead remains at 9 with 1:53. Tomorrow night on ESPN at 7, you can catch an NBA battle between the Orlando Magic and the New York Knicks. Also available on ESPN3 and live on WatchESPN.com and the Watch ESPN app. With you guys having the New York connections, is the Jeremy Lin insanity over yet?
It's wild. On a Friday night, I was in New York and we stayed in to watch them on an away game. Passed up a couple of pleasant moments in some lovely restaurant, but Landry, how about that back door? You want to match college boards?
No. I think one of them is probably as high boards as the 3 of us combined, right?
Yeah, well, I'm discounting Mike's a but Jeremy, I just think it's one of the great stories of sports in recent years that somebody can get an opportunity to take advantage of it and turn a city and a league so affectionately.
There's Landry Fields, who was, I think he was a second-round pick, as I recall, right?
Mm-hmm. Went from reserve to starter to star under Johnny Dawkins.
There have been some pretty good players come out of Stanford in recent years. You think of Landry Fields and the Collins twins, the Lopez twins.
Right. Yep. I go back to Todd Lichty. I think he's a good player.
Yep.
Right at the line has made all of his free throws tonight, 4 for 4. He may not start, but he sure gets a lot of minutes and a lot of points. There's a lot of assists on top of that.
Well, when he had the 29 points, he had 6 assists. I mean, it's Illinois State.
$11 points the spread, 67-56. Desperation time now for UMass.
A nice job. They're all trying to help out. Nice penetration. Little Kisman, little guy, to quick timeout.
Williams gets the bucket, calls time. That cuts it to 9.
Stretch the game out. That's what you're looking to do.
Well, if you're Stanford right now and you look at the first 38 minutes, I'd have to say you have to think their defense has been really solid.
In 1991, Stanford took on Oklahoma for the NIT title. Mike Montgomery and Billy Tubbs at the helm. Adam Keefe overpowered the Sooners inside, scored 12 to add to his 24 in the semifinal against UMass, and was named the tournament MVP. Stanford won his first NIT championship, 78-72. There's their NIT history. I will never forget the day I asked Billy Tubbs when he was at Oklahoma. You guys give up an awful lot of points and a huge shooting percentage. He says, don't care if they make it or not. I just want them to shoot in a hurry. I'd never heard a coach say that.
I was there in that famous night when he took the microphone. And
oh, wow.
With the referees.
Against Missouri.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's amazing character. And Adam Keefe, I was on a cruise with Adam, and they had twins, he and his wife, and they had the adjoining suite.
Oh, he kept you up at night.
So you kept them up.
No, he kept them up. Adam said, what's all the commotion? What's all the commotion next door?
He asked me not to slam the door when I came home at night.
Oh, that's the line.
Mike Montgomery did a great job here. They were the #1 seed 3 different years in the NCAA tournament. You think about the Final Four, I think in '98.
Then Trank came in after him, had a good run.
Yeah. Of course, you remember Brevin Knight coming from Seton Hall Prep. And
you know, the only guy that offered him a scholarship before Stanford.
No, you got to remind me.
Right here.
You got to rub it in.
Fushilla.
But
you were close.
Well, he had a great career at Stanford. He really did. A great NBA career.
With a quick timeout, they get it.
Williams with a layup and another timeout.
30-second time.
All right.
Second game, the human highlight film. Rodney Williams, ever since Ralph Sampson III was injured, and they moved him from the small forward to a power forward, he has blossomed. And you want to see somebody go up and stay up until the job is done, that's Rodney Williams. Everybody else comes down, and he's still hanging around the rim.
Yeah, they are fun to watch, and we alluded to those games on the road. Starting to find their stride, aren't they?
Yeah, you know, they had a lot of injury. Hey, they lost Trevor Mbakwe early. I mean, in the Old Spice Classic, in a game against Dayton. And I had a chance to coach him last summer at the Nike Skills Academy with Thomas Robinson, Anthony Davis, the Plumlee brothers, and he is a warrior.
No wonder those guys had such good years.
Yeah, see that?
I learned.
Well, you better give Jay Billis a little credit, too, because Jay helped coach at that camp.
Tough spot to bring it in right here. Great angle defensively. Play a passing lane. Watch the run out.
There it is. Good call, Bill.
Brown. Sort of a delayed whistle. They do get the foul. And that's 4 on Morgan. Most teams don't want to do that. They don't want to throw the pass down court. They're afraid to turn it over, but it's almost always open.
Right. I think if you have a 9-point lead, I should tell my team, hey, every now and then loosen them up, throw it.
Well, if you got Grant Hill, you throw it.
Yeah.
Brown knocks down the first.
What was Tubby telling us today? That 55 games his kids have missed from injuries. All the different guys hurt.
Yeah.
That's a monster.
Andre Ingram and Ralph Sampson III, and of course Mbakwe almost the whole year.
Well, Mbakwe was the reigning Big Ten rebounding champion. I mean, that's just an enormous loss. What a shot!
He doesn't give up.
The little guy does it again.
He's got that scoop down.
He does.
That's the equivalent of a dunk for a 5'7" guy.
Well, you're talking to the authority.
Yeah, exactly. Take a look at this. Watch this.
I talked to Tommy Pecora today, and I'll finish it up, France.
Oh, this is nice right here. Look at that. Right underneath. Good body control.
Incredible. Tommy, of course, had him and recruited him for Hofstra. And then Tommy took the Fordham job, and he just said, you can't calculate what he contributes during the course of a game. Here they go. They're right back in this.
Offensive rebound. Esho. Nice move by Maxi Esho. He cuts the lead to 6. Now it's only a 2-possession game.
Mistake away.
Ooh. Oh. Looked like Bright picked that ball up.
Boy, very lucky. He chinned it.
Boy, he got away with one. At least it looked like. Let's watch the replay and see.
See if he ever got control of it.
Oh, he did?
Oh,
yeah. Yes, sir.
Ooh, wow. Ooh, you guys have good eyes. That was right. That was literally 10 feet from us.
That's the only reason we saw it.
Powell. That's a big free throw because now it's a 3-possession game.
He's just walking back. I got away with one.
Powell rims out on that. 7-point ball game. Williams trying to create a little contact. Goes into the lane again. Offensive rebound. Carter on the deck, tied up. Possession arrow will give it to Stanford.
Now, defensively, you've got to let them use some clock, too. He's just going with reckless abandon. And nobody contained the little guy.
Yeah. Watch Williams. He's not out of the play yet.
Oh, get that. Oh, you got to love that.
Look at his effort. Oh, my. And he's pointing. He's refereeing, too.
Yeah, exactly.
They still have, maybe they can say he's only 5'6". He's listed at 5'9", but there's still no way to measure a guy's height.
Yeah, absolutely not.
40 seconds to go.
Gotta give him that.
Gotta hurry.
You wasted 15.
That's what Derek is saying.
Do not understand that possession. That's 15, almost 20 seconds.
No, and it might be, you know, and Jesse Morgan probably knew he had 4. Didn't want to commit the 5th, but
you can't take the other one home with you.
No, exactly.
So now only 33 seconds left, and Morgan, who averages 10 points a game and is a really good outside shooter, only came through with 2 tonight.
He had the foul problems early, too. It's funny because you get untracked. You know, you're thrown off your stride. But this helps teams, even in a loss. Wouldn't you agree to get this far?
Totally agree. They've got UMass fast. People are excited talking about them again. The crowds were better at the Mullins Center at the end of the year. And I think because Derek is one of their own, you mentioned it earlier, Bill, that people up in Amherst really feel good about where this program is.
That makes a difference, doesn't it?
I think so. You know what happened when the job opened, when Travis Ford left? There was a sense that let's go get somebody that knows about where we've been. You know, with Cal and Bruiser Flint, and Canby and Lou Rowe.
Yeah. And our favorite, Tony Barbee.
Yep.
But even here, a great turnout for that.
Pull-up 3 by Williams just nicked the front of the net, and now a foul with 27-1. I think it's over except for the final margin. It is really something for a former player to come back after being a very good assistant coach and having a long run at different schools under John Calipari, to come home because he knows the culture.
Yes. And
he also knows which buttons to push.
Yep.
Where to go, who to help you in dire need.
Yeah. And he's not only a UMass kid, but he's a Springfield guy. You know, he's really connected to that entire community.
Sure.
He has a certain toughness about him, and I think his team shows it.
The second Pac-12 team waiting in the wings, the Huskies of Washington.
When I saw Washington early in the year, there was no way I didn't think they would be in the NCAA. That's how good I thought they were, even in a loss. And watching at various times, they always impress me. Yeah, you don't need this.
Nice job by the Stanford Cardinal tonight. They're going to win their 25th game against a really resilient UMass Minuteman ball club. But they answered every challenge that UMass threw at them.
And Johnny talked.
And Stanford is going to live to fight one more day.
The final score is Stanford 74.
Two pretty good players right there. Johnny Dawkins turned to his team before the handshake and he said, hey, let's show some class, act like we've won games like this before. That was really nice.
And he also had his kids ready to play tonight. They've gotten better at the right time of year, Mike.
74-64, Stanford a winner. They advanced to the championship game on Thursday night. The final score, a 10-point spread for Stanford. Coming up next, on ESPN2, college basketball live scoreboard. Join us in about 20 minutes for our second game, Minnesota-Washington. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Now we join Ryan Burr.
Sound.
Hi, Mike. Thanks so much. We are currently looking live over on ESPN as UConn is on their way to their 5th consecutive Final Four. The Huskies able to beat Kentucky. It was a 1-2. And now UConn will head to Denver. Get a little look at the action here. And yes, congratulations to UConn, Junior Ariema on their way back to the Final Four. Ryan Burr, Miles Simon, and of course Doug Gottlieb, thanks for joining us as we are working our way towards the second game from the Final Four of the NIT, which will be Washington and Minnesota, about 20 minutes, 30 minutes from now. We've got you covered until then. We'll get you set for the Final Four this weekend from New Orleans, and we take a look at the first game, and what a game this will be in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Louisville and Kentucky, first game. This will be the first meeting of the two teams from the same state in the Final Four since Cincinnati and Ohio State met in the title game in 1962. These in-state rivals have met 43 times. Kentucky has the edge. Welcome in Jerry Tipton, Lexington Herald leader. And Jerry, Kentucky leading into this game on Saturday, national semifinal against Louisville. Give me an idea of the pressure that Lexington and this Kentucky team is feeling right about now.
Well, this is almost the worst-case scenario, Orion, because playing Louisville under any circumstances just drives people crazy here. It's just so much anxiety. And now to be in the Final Four with a chance to go to the championship game, it just makes it, almost impossible to bear for Kentucky fans.
With all that said, John Calipari's third year, Elite Eight, a Final Four team, and now another Final Four team. Do you get the sense that this is his best chance as far as on-the-court team?
Yeah, you'd have to say that with, especially considering that Syracuse lost Fab Melo and then North Carolina lost Kendall Marshall. Those were seen as two big threats to Kentucky. Now it seems the path is opened and they just have to walk through, which makes the possibility of losing to Louisville all the more gut-wrenching here.
Jerry, you see this team day in, day out. They will win the national championship if what?
Well, it's just sort of a steady as they go thing. I mean, they're 36-2. It's amazing how steady, Ryan, they've been, especially for a freshman-oriented team. So I don't think they're looking to change much. I think they're just thinking about just playing like they have been playing.
Last thing, as you look at Louisville, who they'll play on Saturday, and then if they win that game, obviously on to the championship on Monday, Ohio State or Kansas. Of those three teams, which would you not want to play if you're a Kentucky fan?
Well, taking emotion out of it, which makes Louisville by far the team they'd want to avoid. I say Ohio State because of Jared Sullinger. He's the kind of low-post anchor that teams have had surprising success against Kentucky, or maybe I should say relative success, because they've only lost twice. But that low-post guy and Vanderbilt's Festus Ezeli did it to them in the SEC championship game. That kind of guy brings Kentucky down a little bit to a more reasonable level.
All right, Jerry Tipton, Lexington Herald leader, with the latest on Kentucky as they prepare to head to the national semis. Thanks, Jerry.
My pleasure.
Take a look back at the first time these two teams met. The Wildcats beat the Cardinals 69-62 on New Year's Eve, thanks to a career night from Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, 24 points, 19 rebounds. Kentucky won despite shooting 30% from the field, missing 13 of 16 three-point attempts. So we know this game will be huge in the state of Kentucky. Just about everyone will have a rooting interest, and Kentucky, Miles, comes into this game as an overwhelming favorite, especially against the Cardinals in the semis. Give me something Louisville can do that will give them a chance to win.
Well, Louisville is one of the best defensive teams in the country. Their 2-3 zone has been tremendously effective during the NCAA tournament, shutting teams down at a high rate. They only give up 60 points per game during the season, number 3 in the nation in field goal percentage defense. They really funnel guys inside to Gorky Jang, who's been an elite shot blocker during the NCAA tournament. There you see Peyton Siva just getting his hands on balls. Really, they want to force Kentucky to shoot a lot of three-pointers, kind of like Vanderbilt baited the Wildcats into shooting a lot of threes, shooting 28 of them in the SEC championship game. 28 of the 64 field goal attempts were from the three-point line. If Louisville can do that, make it an ugly game, slow down the tempo, stop the Wildcats from getting out on the break, they have a chance to win the game.
Well, and as I mentioned earlier, missed 13, made 3 of 16 did Kentucky the first time around. And in December, early January, that was the thought process of how you would beat Kentucky, make them beat you from 3. As of late, Doug, they've been a much better team from distance. How do you think Louisville can win this game?
Well, Louisville can win it, I think, with their full court pressure. You know, you have to try and force Marcus Teague into making turnovers. One of the things Kentucky has done in terms of changing is they've brought Deron Lamb back, and at times he's the point, at times they just play him together in the backcourt. But I think what's unique about Kentucky and their attack against the zone, which I think you're going to see initially, is the fact that Kentucky likes to use Anthony Davis in interesting positions to throw lobs to him. And there's all different kinds of ways to attack zones, and they've seen all different kinds of zones within SEC play. And they use him within man-to-man offense. They use him within zone offense, constantly looking to use his length, athleticism, great hands to kind of flatten out the defense. And especially when you got Gorky Jang, who's a tremendous shot blocker, he has to, one, cover ball screens because Teague and Lamb and others, you know, Miller, they'll turn the corner off the ball screens. But what they use those screens for is ways to get him out on the floor and then get him cutting towards the basket so that he reads the screen and constantly moves. They'll set back screens for him in order to get alley-oops. So I think it's interesting how you always have to keep an eye on what's behind you because Anthony Davis is such a threat. And then when you have Gorky Jang, is he able to help out and be that dynamic shot blocker? And we only had 2 blocks in the Florida game, but he had several goaltends, and he had several shots that he changed around the basket because you're worried about him. But you have to worry about Anthony Davis because he, unlike maybe any player in the country, doesn't need a lot of space to catch those alley-oops.
He just seems to be getting better and better. So, you know, this is no shock. Kentucky's a big favorite in this game. You gave me a reason how Louisville can hang in, maybe win the game. You told us why Kentucky is so tough. With that said, I'm going to ask you guys, you know, is there any way Kentucky loses this game, Miles?
I don't think Kentucky will lose the game. I think Terrence Jones is really playing at a high level right now, and you complement that with Anthony Davis's growth since the first time they played. Remember, Anthony Davis early on in the season, he was only getting baskets really, you know, around the rim, drop-offs, the lobs, but now he's posting up. Now they get him at the high post. He's squaring up guys, and they're afraid of his drive because he's from the three-point line. He's one dribble, and he's going to dunk it, but now he's shooting threes. He's extended his range to 17 or 18 feet. So you've seen a great maturation of Anthony Davis
no chance
on the offensive end.
No chance they lose.
I don't think no chance they lose.
Yeah, look, I don't know how Louisville's here. It's that playing with house money thing, though. And they just hang around.
Do they have a chance?
Yeah.
You give them a chance?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see. I mean, I think if you ask Rick Pitino, you put the white light on him and you say, truth be told, should you be in the Final Four? Is this a Final Four team? He's like, no. But yet they've won games. And they believe that they may not be in better shape than everybody else, but they believe they're in better shape. They believe they should win these games. I don't think they will win. I think Kentucky won't be nervous, but it'll be interesting because this is a game they can't lose.
I think the thing that can give Louisville a sense of confidence, that they only lost by 7 at Rupp Arena, and only one guy scored in double figures.
They turned him over. Yeah. It was an ugly game, 52 fouls on the road.
Smith went wild.
A lot of free throws.
He did.
But I think that type of thing can give you confidence.
Absolutely. The one other quick thing about Kentucky, which is amazing to me, they were #1 in the country at the time. And we talk about how much they've improved since then. Yeah. It gives you an idea why they are such an overwhelming favorite. The other semifinal Saturday night will pit Ohio State against Kansas. What to watch for here? The last time the Jayhawks found themselves here in 2008, they won the national title. These teams met earlier this season, Kansas posting a 78-67 win, although Jared Sullinger missed that game with a back injury. So now we look at Kansas and Ohio State. Both teams were able to get by Syracuse and North Carolina this past weekend. Both teams were a little depleted, one without Fab Melo, the other without Kendall Marshall. Now we get Ohio State, Kansas. What are you looking to?
I'm looking for Deshaun Thomas to have a big game. He scored 19 points in the first matchup at Fog Allen Fieldhouse, but he's kind of a matchup problem for Kansas. And the reason being, Deshaun Thomas plays the 4, but he's an inside-out type of guy. So Thomas Robinson is going to start the game on Deshaun Thomas, but I think it's going to end up making Kansas play small, a la how they had to go against Missouri with Kim English at the 4 spot. And I think that nullifies what Jeff Withey can kind of do, takes him out of the game. I watched the replay of the game on ESPNU earlier today.
Good play.
Kevin Young did a great job he had to guard Deshaun Thomas a lot of the game because he's a better perimeter defender. Thomas Robinson can't spend a lot of time chasing Deshaun Thomas on that 3-point line.
And let's be honest, just like we talked about Kentucky's change, they've improved. I think both these teams have, and they found themselves. I think Kansas is unique because Withey is so much more dynamic, such a bigger part of their team. And he went through a month there at the end of the season. I know he's the Big 12 Defense Player of the Year. He didn't really play well at the end of the year. And then all of a sudden, you get to the Sweet 16. He played great this past weekend. He's got a lot of confidence. I still think it comes down to the point guard matchup. Aaron Craft turned Tyshawn Taylor over 6 times. Taylor was playing on a bum knee at the time, but Craft is still somebody you have to constantly worry about. He'll score when he needs to score. He'll facilitate when he needs to facilitate, but his real strength is his ability to just frustrate you as an offensive player. And as good as Tyshawn Taylor has been, Miles, and you covered the Big 12 all year long, you know how explosive he is. He can keep the other team in the game. He can win it, and he can lose it for you with those turnovers. That's the matchup. If you can't get the ball past midcourt, you can't get in your offense. And Kansas hasn't shot the ball well in the NCAA tournament yet from 3. They played well offensively in the first half against Carolina. That's the matchup to me that probably decides.
But let's talk, remember this, though. He did have the 7 turnovers in that game, 6 of them while Kraft was guarding. Right. But he did have a career-high 13 assists playing on that tournament.
Like I said, both teams, playing for both teams at times.
I'll tell you, for me, Ohio State has reached the Final Four with most people think their second-best player, at least in the regular season, with William Buford. He has had a horrific tournament, and they're in the Final Four. If all of a sudden he finds it.
Now, he starts playing, there's no quality matchup because, who they played? Relford on him?
But on the same end, you're saying that?
What makes you think?
Tyshawn Taylor hasn't played well. 0 for 17 from the 3 in the NCAA tournament. Yeah. Hasn't made a 3, and they're in the Final Four. He was arguably the best player in the Big 12 this year.
Can I one-up you? How about both these teams were better last year? Talent-wise, better, deeper last year than they are this year. Yet now they're in the Final Four. They're 2 wins away from winning the whole thing.
A lot can change year to year. A lot will change at Kansas State and South Carolina. That's because they'll both have new coaches next season. Frank Martin is moving. He revitalized Kansas State, of course, now has signed a 6-year contract worth more than $2 million a year to go to South Carolina, who finished dead last in the SEC. You think of Frank Martin, you immediately think of Kansas State. You mentioned it, taking over for Bob Huggins. He brings immediate toughness, but these numbers here are mind-boggling. He just had an amazing tenure at Kansas State, winning 20 games and going to the tournament just about every year.
I would point out that he inherited Bill Walker and Michael Beasley in his first year. That helps any first-year coach. First-time college. It is. That helps you get it going. And the big thing is he changed the culture. He and Bob Huggins, that entire staff, changed the culture at Kansas State to one in which they expected to lose games, to one in which they expected to compete and win games. And that's what he has to do at South Carolina. It's an interesting, at best, lateral move. I mean, look, he's going to make more money. He's got a longer contract and a better relationship with his AD, which seemed to evaporate over the past couple of months.
You don't see South Carolina as a sleeping giant?
Yeah, if you can build a fence around and not let North Carolina come in and take your players, but that's really hard to do because they're still North Carolina. I think it's a job you can win at. I just think it's a difficult job because they haven't won in 25 years.
Well, he will not be the only coach moving on. Take a look at some other coaches, new faces in new places. Nebraska will have a new coach as well as Rhode Island. Interesting story there with Danny Hurley moving on. Wagner, Air Force, UNC, Greensboro. Go ahead, Miles.
Yeah, I think this hire, I think Tim Miles is a great hire, did a great job at North Dakota State, got Colorado State to the NCAA tournament this year. One of the best coaches in the business, does a great job on the defensive end with the pack line defense, and I think he'll do an excellent job and try to get Nebraska eventually into the upper half of the Big Ten.
Mason, 28 years old, new head coach of Wagner.
So coaches changing places. When we come back, we'll talk about some players that will be moving on. We'll be moving on to get paid. Guys that have already thrown their name into the ring to leave college before their eligibility was up to head on to the NBA. We'll discuss those guys and, of course, our second semifinal of the NIT. Andre Hollins in Minnesota taking on Washington. We're back after this timeout.
You're watching College Basketball Live.
Brian Burr, Miles Simon, Doug Gottlieb with you. Earlier tonight, women's basketball, trip to the Final Four on the line, Kentucky and UConn.
Yeah, when Rick Pitino said they're putting up fences on bridges, I hope he didn't mean if UConn lost to Kentucky and didn't get to the Final Four.
Aha. Let's move to the second half.
You know how seriously the UConn women's hoops, are you kidding how crazy they are?
Sometimes jokes sometimes they fall flat.
It's a good line.
He tried.
Yeah. Tried. UConn tried, and they were on their way to a fifth consecutive Final Four, defeating Kentucky 80-65. This game just underway over on ESPN. The last ticket will be punched. It is Notre Dame and Maryland. Should be a good one, tied at 12 early on. All right, guys, we seem to do this every year right before the Final Four. Guys that have decided to leave college early and head to the NBA. Royce White, what a season he had for Iowa State. One of the more pleasurable guys to watch. He could do it all.
Remember, he essentially went 2 years without playing. You got to see him a lot.
Yeah, excellent decision by Royce White, super power forward.
Renardo Sidney heading as well.
Don't know if he should be going out, but,
Crickets often speak 1,000 words.
Probably undrafted.
Dion Waiters leaving Syracuse. He had a fantastic Big East tournament and NCAA tournament. 2 years he's heading on.
Dynamic scoring combo guard. Can handle, can finish. I think he can guard at the next level. I don't know what position he has, but I actually think he plays the same position in the pros he played in college. Come off the bench and get you buckets.
And it doesn't matter for Waiters. Teams play smaller now. Austin Rivers, got a chance to see him this summer at the skills academies, at Kevin Durant. Elite scorer, can shoot the basketball, can score, get to the lane. Probably be a good pro, first-round pick.
Yeah, what's interesting about Austin Rivers is, scored double figures in the final 17 games for Duke, but averaged only 2 assists per game. So you take a look at consecutive one-and-done point guards for Duke, Kyrie Irving and Austin Rivers.
He's not a point guard. He's a two guard.
There you go.
Well, I think that's the big challenge for Austin Rivers.
Not taken.
What position is he at the next level, and can he get to the basket at the next level? He's got to improve his jump shooting. I think he can be a guy who's hard to play with at times.
It's going to have to be the right system. Golden State Warriors play with smaller two guards. Mark Jackson might have changed that culture a little bit now, but teams do play smaller at both guard positions now. It's a normal trend.
Let's go with the guys that we just mentioned, those 5 guys. Who has the biggest impact rookie year on the NBA from the guys leaving early right now?
Boy, I think Royce White is a guy who... Man,
intriguing, right?
He's really intriguing. Now, he has the anxiety disorder, which he's very upfront about. It caused him to have to drive... his grandpa drove him to the first round and second round games against in the NCAA tournament. But if he can overcome that, I mean, he's almost unguardable in that he can handle the ball, he can shoot the ball, he's a very, very adept passer.
I mean, obviously,
and he has a pro body.
He's not going to be able to drive to games, so how is that going to work?
He's going to have to fly and get on the team playing with everybody else. Yeah. That's how it's going to work. If he wants to play in the NBA, that's how it's going to work.
He's worked hard to address it. He's flown to many games, but in that one, he didn't feel comfortable driving.
But I agree with Doug. I think Royce White makes the biggest impact. Out of just those guys that we named right now, physically he's ready. He is 3 years removed from high school. Yeah. He's 6'8", 270, but he carries it really well because he is a high-level athlete. You saw some of the plays that he made in the NCAA tournament.
Man.
He can pass the ball. The first time I saw him this year when I covered Iowa State.
Position, Miles?
Power forward or 3, either one. But he's just a basketball player.
Yeah.
Remind me of Anthony Mason. Can't really shoot.
Ooh, nice.
I like that.
But bigger, but bigger than Anthony Mason.
But can handle the ball much better.
That was pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Here's you know, it's interesting. we showed Bernardo Sidney on there.
Yeah.
And think about it. He sat for a year. He played half a year, had the fight last year. They never make the NCAA tournament with him. I mean, in many ways, he embodies what's really wrong about AAU high school basketball culture. You know, Rick Stansbury retires. Basically chases Rick Stansbury into retirement. That was, of all the bad signings, the moment Rick Stansbury picked up the phone and accepted that Bernardo Sidney wanted to come to his place, ultimately undid his 14-year tenure at Mississippi State.
We'll see. Maybe the NBA is the place for him. That will be decided only by him. Just a reminder, coming in next, we are working our way towards Minnesota and Washington. At stake, a game in the NIT championship game.
College Basketball Live Scoreboard is brought to you by Volkswagen. Visit your local dealer and get a great deal during our Safety in Numbers event.
Brian Burr, Miles Simon, Doug Gottlieb. News from the NFL. New Orleans head coach Sean Payton says he'll decide in the next few days whether to appeal a season-long suspension the NFL doled out for his part in the Saints' bounty system. Payton says he will talk with his mentor Bill Parcells to see if he has any interest in possibly coaching the Saints this season. Earlier tonight, NIT semifinal. Stanford beats UMass by 10, 74-64. Now we wait and see if it's a Pac-12 NIT final. Washington, Minnesota next.
Got to watch out for Terrence Ross, one of the best scorers, 26 points per game in the NIT against Rodney Williams, one of the best athletes in all of college basketball.
All right, it is time now for Minnesota and Washington from Madison Square Garden. Mike Patrick has the call. Mike?
Anthony Mason, that was a good one.